In 1844, the Democrats were split.
Your source for music, news, and sports. 89.7 KRUI, Iowa City.
Welcome to Informavores. I'm Alex Schumann, and here are today's top headlines. NASA's new rocket, the Ares 1X, had a successful takeoff at 11:30 this morning, a mere 30 minutes before the noon deadline for launch. The 327-foot rocket is considered the largest in the world and is a part of the Constellation program, NASA's next generation of spacecraft designed to take humans back to the moon and eventually Mars. The United Nations condemned the U.S. embargo on Cuba for the 19th year in a row. President Obama signed a defense bill earlier today which will cut costly weapons but will also put money toward paying Taliban members to renounce the insurgency. A similar strategy was considered extremely effective in Iraq. Also, California is starting a new program noted Cash for Appliances, which uses federal stimulus money to help push the, quote, essential appliances used by millions, end quote. Coming up on Informavores, Nancy Pelosi wants to rename the public option, Forbes lists the wealthiest dead celebrities, dairy farmers kill to make a killing, and Facebook wants an online cemetery. Not to mention, the state of Iowa might be a big fat liar. This and much, much more coming up on Informavores. Welcome to Informavores. I'm Alex Schumann, and I'm here with my co-host, Marcus Rippentrop. And if you'd like to join the conversation with us, you can check us out on Twitter or Facebook. Just type in Informavores. Or you can email us at informavores11@yahoo.com. And if you can't listen to the whole episode, feel free to check out our new YouTube channel. Now, Marcus is going to take us into our first topic. Go ahead.
Yep. Welcome to the show, everybody. Our first topic today comes to us from Marshall Poe, who's a professor here at the University of Iowa. And he has written an opinion piece for the Daily Iowan, our local newspaper here for the student body and Iowa City as a whole. But basically, he's complaining about how he lives close to downtown Iowa City, and he's had numerous run-ins with drunk students who have been causing problems around his place of residence. And he's heard stories from other people, and he's just in general tired of hearing about all of these drunk students and their shenanigans and all of the stuff that happens. So what he's proposing is that the University of Iowa extend their student conduct code to apply to not only the university grounds and university to events, but everything that happens within the city of Iowa City. And he even hinted at maybe going farther than that, but for sure that. And his suggestion is not only extend the code, but strengthen the code to, if there's any kind of violence or any kind of obstructing the law or any kind of violation of that nature, he is suggesting that the students are not only expelled from the university, but kicked out of the city of Iowa City for a predetermined amount of time until they are, quote, mature enough to come back. So, Alex, what do you think about that? Should students who violate or who break the law because of alcohol-related incidents be forced to leave the university and the city of Iowa City? Let's just start with the university first. Should they be expelled for a one-time offense?
Oh no, I don't think they should be expelled at all for a one-time offense. I think that's just way too strict. I mean, I completely understand where he's coming from, especially, I mean, in that he included a personal story where a very drunk kid came and like banged on his front door and
tried to break in.
Yeah, tried to break into his home, and so I understand how upset he probably is, but a one-time alcohol-related offense is not enough to be expelled from a university. I just don't agree with that.
No. He says in the article that the University of Iowa is a top-tier institution who should be focused on learning and research, which I'd expect from a professor. But then he goes on to say that University of Iowa already has a bad national reputation fueled by its this is a quote here, fueled by its remarkably laxity. I can't read that word. With dealing with out-of-control drinking. So he's saying that the university has a bad reputation. Do you agree with that? Do you think the university has a bad reputation for drinking, I guess?
I'm a little surprised that it's national, but I would say, yeah. I mean, of the three major universities in the state of Iowa, oh yeah, that's really what we're known for. I mean, you can tell by parking problems just on the weekends here, how many people from other universities come here just to party.
Yep. Well, and I think
I think he's correct there. I think he's not far off. I've never really heard of anything nationally besides I know the Union is in like the top 10 bars or something like that. But that's it.
Iowa's been bouncing around within the top 15 of party schools, according to, I think it's like the Princeton Review or something like that. But do you favor any other kind of program? I mean, because the current program basically is to slap on the wrist and say, don't do it again. Mm-hmm. And then he wants to go one-time expel. Is there any kind of middle ground you can find that you would be in favor of doing?
Not particularly. I really don't know. I can't think of anything that I would support.
Okay.
And nothing comes to mind at all.
Well, here's what I think. I mean, the truth of this article is that there are students who deliberately go out, get drunk, and cause problems to private property and are just a handful for the police. There are people that do that. However, I don't think the one-time offense should be enough to get you kicked out. That's a little extreme, as we've both said. I would, however, be in favor of something like a 3-strike program where if say, the same person had gotten busted 3 times within a year or 2 years or their entire time at the university, then they could be asked to leave the university. But I don't think they have the right to make them leave Iowa City as a whole. I don't think that's fair.
I don't think that's what I think he meant leave the University of Iowa. But what would you want to do then? Like, would it be specific crimes, just any kind of crime, and it would be 3 strikes, like a Paula, you're done? Public intox would probably be one of them.
Yeah.
Because that's a little, I mean, you've got to be really, really drunk usually to be caught with a public intox. But so what are you going to do there? Are you going to have levels? Are you going to have exceptions? I mean, you get into a lot of dirty stuff as opposed to, although it's not helpful, I will admit that it's not helpful at all, but to the university's reputation, but in across the board kind of just waiving of the offenses unless it's something serious. I just don't think they can do anything without making these exceptions, and then I'll start to I just disagree with doing that. So,
yeah, I would agree entirely with that. That's all I have.
All right. Well, then our next story is right here. Now, Facebook is going to start keeping profiles of dead people. Now, we all know that it's impossible to remove your information from Facebook, but they are going to create it's essentially a Facebook cemetery. There we go. Now, excuse me. The 5-year-old social network, it wants to memorialize profiles. And how they're going to do this, it's going to be a different kind of account than a Facebook account. And all you have to do is if you're the dead individual's friend or family, you can request it from Facebook. I'm not really sure how, you just go in there, and then what they do is they just make it so that you can't appear in the suggestions section of Facebook, and they can't, like, obviously no friends or anything like that. They just shut it down, and you can't even log in to the person's page. So what do you think? I mean, is this really this is really odd.
It is. I think it's really strange.
It's just an online tombstone.
I guess the way that it works is that unless you're a confirmed friend of the deceased, you will not be able to see the page. You won't be able to search for it. But if you are a confirmed friend, I don't know if you can add or remove friends, you will be able to search for it and interact with the profile, is my understanding. Like, you could just say, post memories and stuff like that. I think that's the plan. I'm not exactly sure, but I agree. It's just really weird and just strange. I don't know that I would want, a family member of mine to have a public record, a public image and just a whole profile associated with them when they're gone.
But I really think I think the reasoning is very similar to a tombstone. I mean, it's there for the living.
Yeah.
And it's there. I mean, people post on walls of when if you've had anyone who's had a Facebook page and then they've passed away, you see a lot of people writing on their wall and, writing their own little personal memorial to them. Although it is kind of odd, that is what happens.
I think that's what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to maintain that, and I think it's just they're doing it so that the family members and the friends can honor the memory of the deceased. So I think that's what they're doing. But people are just kind of giving this a quick double take. Is like, I don't know if I really want that.
Yeah. So now that we're kind of on this subject of just death. Now, there's been a lot of controversy around a new ad from DirecTV, and what they have is it's of David Spade is in there, and it's DirecTV always has had these ads that are of movie clips, very famous movie clips, and this one is from the movie Tommy Boy, and it's David